Well, the ANC in Mpumalanga has put forward the name of NEC member Ronald Lamola for the fiercely contested position of ANC Deputy President when the party holds that national conference in December. Let's speak to the man himself now to talk about the few months ahead before that conference. A very good evening to you, Mr. Lamola. So the ANC members in Mpumalanga believe that you would be the ideal candidate to be Deputy President of the country. Do you believe you've got what it takes?
I think, Tembekile, and to the viewers, it is indeed a humbling experience to be nominated or pronounced for such a position in the ANC. It's humbling because the ANC is a very old liberation movement with a prestigious history. So even if you are nominated for a branch position, it's a big thing, and I do believe that I have gone through the ranks of the ANC from its youth structures and its National Executive Committee, including in governance. I believe that I'm equal to the task. I will be able to respond to the call of duty by the structures of the ANC when called upon.
Are you actively then working to encourage other parts of the country to put you forward on their list as well?
Yeah, obviously, it's now a democratic process that will be subjected to the branch nominations, and the branches are nominating across the country according to their preference, and that will be what will determine the outcome at the end of the day. But I do believe that the days of not engaging, of doing underground work happened and passed along with us in 1990. We are no longer an underground movement. It is necessary now that there is an engagement, and it must be open, robust, and there must be discussions amongst those that are standing, including the structures across the country. As it is happening, it should be encouraged so that this process is as democratic and as persuasive as possible.
In the spirit of that openness, then, are you actively lobbying for further nominations to come from other parts of the country? Because ultimately, conference and the election are a numbers game.
Yes, that's correct. There is engagements happening amongst the structures. As you'll be aware, the PC of the ANC in Mpumalanga had lots of meetings across the country with the various structures. So there is work that is ongoing. But it's not only just about numbers. It's also about the shape of the organization in terms of the renewal program. Where are we taking the ANC in terms of its renewal that we started in 2017? It's also responding to the challenges of inequality, poverty in the country. It also deals with the issues of energy and the various issues. So it's not just about numbers. It's to deal with the content, including the policy positions that must be adopted by conference so that we respond to the challenges of the people of this country, because the ANC does not exist for its own. It exists to resolve the people's challenges.
And on all those fronts, then, many South Africans believe that the ANC has so far failed to keep its word. I mean, just look at what happened yesterday at that COSATU Congress where your current chairperson was booed, workers saying that they're tired of the ANC and its broken promises. When you look at various communities, people say they are either voting for the opposition or simply staying away from the polls because they are tired of the ANC as a governing party. So as Deputy President, if you were to be elected, what commitment would you make to make sure that the ANC, as we go into the third decade of democratic South Africa, actually does more than pay voters lip service?
Yeah, as you will have seen from our last manifesto, we do not deny that there are challenges. And we believe those challenges, we have a responsibility to correct them. In my space where I am involved, we had to rebuild an institution like the National Prosecuting Authority. Today, it is beginning to lay a foundation, and this work can now be seen by everyone through the convictions raised that they are acquiring on various matters that are going through our courts, whether it's corruption, whether it's organized crime, whether it's crime-related issues, gender-based violence. In the Department of Correctional Services, also where I am involved, we have turned around the institution, where now we have been able to do a lot of things in-house. As we speak now, we have been able to save that department more than about 100 million rands in terms of the inmates doing the production work, agriculture. They eat what they produce. So I have demonstrated that I can do it, and I do believe that with the collective work that the ANC gives to us, with the collective leadership, we will be able to turn around the corner and implement what we commit to the people of this country.
But it's also been that collective stance that's hamstrung the ANC in many of its failures, because while one person may have noble intentions, if the rest aren't fully on board and there are still allegations of corruption involving people even as high up as cabinet in these allegations, it's still not a convincing promise for many.
Yeah, where there is evidence of corruption and affects, there is everything, the law must take its course. And when those challenges also impact the ANC, you know the ANC has got a resolution of what happens with those that are charged with corruption. It's very clear. So there must be no flinching about that position. So that is what should happen, where the resolutions are clear, where the law is clear, and if anyone, even it's myself or any other person, is in conflict with the law, it must take its course. So we need to commit to that and continue. And it is that for that reason that we have rebuilt the institutions like the NPA, rebuilding the other law enforcement agencies, the SIU. You will have seen the amounts of money they've clocked back. So the law must have no eyes. It must just do as it's supposed to be in terms of the evidence and the law. So without any political interference. And that is what we have committed to do. It's what we are currently doing, allowing them to do their job.
So at the moment, if you are now being put forward as a candidate for deputy president, for the job of president, the three main names floating about are that of the incumbent, Cyril Ramaphosa, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, as nominated by KZN, and some suggestions that even Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma would be a strong candidate for that position. Which of those three would you be happiest to serve alongside or even run with at conference?
Yeah, I think the current president, Cyril Ramaphosa, should be given a chance to conclude the program of renewal that he has started. He has already laid the foundation to renew the ANC, to rebuild this trust with the people of this country, and has also started a job to re-strengthen institutions of our democracy, like the NPA, institutions like state-owned entities, institutions that are aimed to resolve our economic challenges and rebuild in the SOEs, and already with the economic recovery plan that we have, that is aimed to take us back to the path of economic recovery. So I think he must continue, he must be given the space to conclude that task, and we give him the support.
But under his presidency, the situation at Eskom has got worse, load shedding going up to stage 5, 6. Under his leadership, unemployment in this country reached record highs. Under his leadership, the COVID-19 pandemic, yes, an unforeseen situation, we saw ultimately resulting in the resignation even of a health minister, with allegations of corruption, people saying, where was the president at the scene? Now the Phala Phala scandal as well. Why is he fit?
The whole group has acknowledged that South Africa is one of the best countries that has managed COVID-19, and it has been managed under his leadership. He did not only help us to manage it here in South Africa, but in the entire African continent, where the world thought that black people in Africa are just going to die like flies. He led the charge. He was the champion of the entire African continent on the COVID vaccine. He was the champion on the entire African continent in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. Even when the economic situations became dire and difficult, he came up with the economic recovery plan with the collective. He has been able to coach the public. So with regard to the Eskom crisis, you are aware it's a historical problem, but there are measures in place to respond, and then an energy recovery plan which he has announced, which I do believe, given a chance, it will be able to ameliorate the situation.
Mr. Lamola, I'm so sorry to do this, but we're terribly out of time. I'm sure you and I will have much more time to talk about these issues further, but for now, thank you so much for being on Newzroom Afrika. That's ANC NEC member Ronald Lamola.